Hello, Kassakai, my students and bacha log. Today in this Power Pack session, what are we going to do is, we are going to study that is diagrams, and that too quick diagram labelings. By doing the quick revision of diagram labelings, many questions are been solved very easily. So our today's session is for ICSE 10, that is booster session, which is again triple S, and that too with triple S Pooja Ma'am. And our session name is Let's Gain Confidence on Diagram, and that too part 1. That means there are more parts are going to come in future. So please be hold with your all chapters thoroughly been done. Now today in this session, what I am going to deal with is the diagram of circulatory system. Alright, so circulatory system में हम सारे diagrams के labelings practice करेंगे, right from the structure of heart, external, internal, and I will be also including in this the atrial and ventricular systole and diastole, that is the heartbeat process, wherein I will not show you the cardiac cycle, but at least I will explain you what will happen, how the sound of the heart is taking place, that is lub and dub sound. The third diagram that we will be discussing in this chapter is about the pacemaker, that is AV node, how it is SA node and AV node, how they are generating the impulse and how they are passing it down to the heart muscles. इसके बाद हम लोग करने वाले हैं arteries और veins की labeling. So let's get started students. शुरू कर देते हैं labeling के साथ. Alright. So ये है हार्ट का स्ट्रक्चर, आप देख सकते हो, दैट इज एक्सटर्नल एंड इंटरनल. सो फर्स्ट लेट अस टेक द एक्सटर्नल स्ट्रक्चर. एक्सटर्नल स्ट्रक्चर में सबसे पहले तो वी आर गोइंग टू लेबल विथ आउटर कवरिंग, दैट इज पेरिकार्डियम. नाउ सी दैट यू कैन लेबल इट एनीवेयर, आप उस चीज को कहीं पे भी लेबल कर सकते हो. सो लेट अस लेबल इट ओवर हियर. ओके, दैट इज दिस इज पेरिकार्डियम. हम लेबलिंग क्यों कर रहे हैं? Why are we doing this labeling? To understand the so this is pericardium. Okay, underline it. Now what is this pericardium? It is the outer covering of heart, which is a muscular membrane that is covering the heart, and there are two layers, outer and inner, which is filled up with pericardial fluid. Yes, it is filled up with pericardial fluid, and this fluid will protect the heart muscles from the external shock. राइट, तो जैसे ही हम ये लेबलिंग करते हैं हमें इसका फंक्शन और उसके सारे जो प्रॉपर्टीज है वो समझ में आ जाती है. सो दिस इज अबाउट पेरिकार्डियम. नाउ व्हाट एल्स डू वी सी ओवर हियर? सो वी सी राइट ऑरिकल. ऑलराइट, राइट ऑरिकल. वी ऑल्सो सी लेफ्ट ऑरिकल. ना ऑरिकल की जगह पे आप इसको एट्रिया भी लेबल कर सकते हो. लेबलिंग्स आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज द डायग्राम्स आर गिवन इन योर एग्जाम्स एंड आपको लेबलिंग पूछा जाता है. वी कैन ऑल्सो सी कोरोनरी आर्टरीज. सो लेट्स लेबल दिस एज कोरोनरी आर्टरी, right? And we can also see coronary veins. Okay, now for the external structure, these many labelings are enough. As you can see, ventricles यहाँ पे properly distinguish नहीं किए गए because there is no septum that has been shown clearly in this diagram. So this much labelings are sufficient for this external structure. At the most, you can label this as aorta. Now aorta, it is the largest artery, which I will explain over here, and this is pulmonary artery. Now at the most, ये वाले डायग्राम के साथ वो इतना ही क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे. ओके, दिस इज पल्मोनरी आर्टरी. ऑलराइट, सो क्विकली यू कैन टेक अ ग्लैंस ऑन द एंटायर लेबलिंग ऑफ दिस एक्सटर्नल स्ट्रक्चर. Pulmonary artery, aorta, which is most of the time it is asked in the internal structure, but still I am showing it to you because many times they do ask in this also. Left auricle, right auricle, because it is prominently seen. ventricles are not prominently seen, so obviously they don't ask. Coronary artery and blue color is coronary vein. Now most of the time what they do is they darken, मतलब coronary vein का जो structure है उसे वो dark कर देते हैं black color से. So जैसे वो dark होगा, you need to understand that it is vein. Fine. And pericardium which is filled up with pericardial fluid, it is double membrane and that prevents the heart muscles from the shock, external shock. So this was about the external structure ka labeling. Now let's see the internal structure ka labeling very quickly. So I want everyone to, obviously you will note it down this, so I'm erasing it. Now let's see internal structure labeling. Now the internal structure labeling, you can see this is left auricle. Yeah, this is left auricle. This is right auricle. Now I am writing down in short, okay, just to explain you. मैं आपको सिर्फ दिखाने के लिए यहाँ पे short में लिख रही हूँ. This is left ventricle and this is right ventricle. तो पहले तो हमने सारे 4 chambers को, okay, all 4 chambers को हमने label कर दिया. Now let us see the internal part. Now these valves, as you can see over here, okay, ये 2 flaps से बना हुआ है. So this is bicuspid valve. Okay, bicuspid valve. Quickly इसका location और function note down कर लेते हैं. Location of the bicuspid valve, that these valves are made up of 2 flaps or cusps which are present at the aperture of left auricle and left ventricle. I repeat, 2 flaps or a cusp which are present or located at the or you can say at the aperture. Aperture means opening, at the aperture of left auricle and left ventricle. Done with the location. अब इसका function क्या हम note down करेंगे? It's very simple, that bicuspid valve prevents the backflow of the blood from the ventricle into the auricle. Bicuspid valve prevent the backflow of the blood from the ventricle to the auricle. That is oxygenated blood. Okay. Now bicuspid valve हो गया. I'm sorry. Now let us see tricuspid valve. So this is tricuspid valve. Again, quickly, location and function. 3 flaps. These valves are made up of 3 flaps or a cusp which are located at the aperture of right auricle and right ventricle. Function: tricuspid valve prevents the backflow of deoxygenated blood from the ventricles to the auricles. I repeat, tricuspid valve prevents the backflow of deoxygenated blood from the ventricles to the auricles. Done? Now, if you see, यहाँ पे ये white color के thread जैसे structures है जो valves को hold करके रख रहे हैं. हमने इसको क्या label किया है? हमने इसको label किया है, and yes, of course, I have also taught you in the class, that is chordae tendineae, right? Chordae tendineae. Quickly, इसका location and function. Chordae tendineae are the tendinous cord-like structures. Chordae tendineae. Location: these are tendinous cords-like structure which are holding the flaps of atrioventricular valves, and these are arising from the papillary muscles of the ventricle walls. Alright, so once again I'll repeat, these chordae tendineae, these are tendinous cords which are attached to the flaps of atrioventricular valves, and they are arising from the papillary muscles of the ventricular walls, right? Function क्या होगा? It's very simple. The function is that it will hold the flaps very tightly in the position so that the flap remains closed during the ventricular systole. It holds the flaps tightly in the position so that the flaps remain closed during ventricular systole. यानी कि जब ventricle का systole होता है, when the ventricles is pumping the blood, तब AV valves का close होना बहुत ही जरूरी है, and that is a function of chordae tendineae. So I hope ये 2 valves और chordae tendineae done. Next, another valve over here is, everyone can see this valve. This is semilunar valve of aorta. Yes. It is semilunar valve of, yes, semilunar valve of aorta, and this one is semilunar valve of, keep noting guys, semilunar valve of pulmonary artery. I am just writing down PA. It's your duty to write down the entire term. आप अगर उसका पूरा फुल फॉर्म नहीं लिखेंगे आपको मार्क्स नहीं मिलेगा. बिना मतलब के हाफ मार्क्स के लिए झिक करना अच्छी बात नहीं है, राइट. ऑलवेज लेबलिंग आपका फुल फॉर्म में ही होना चाहिए, शॉर्ट फॉर्म बिल्कुल भी यूज मत कीजिएगा. ऑलराइट, तो सेमिलुनर वाल्व ऑफ एओर्टा, क्विकली इसका लोकेशन और फंक्शन जान लेते हैं. दीज आर टू lunar means half moon, right, crescent shapes. So what we will say, these are made up of three pocket shaped valves, that is 3 flaps. It's a pocket shaped flaps, 3 flaps. So these are made up of 3 pocket shaped flaps which are present at the opening of the aorta, ओपनिंग ऑफ द एओर्टा. कहां पे लोकेटेड है? बराबर एओर्टा के ओपनिंग के वहां पे लोकेटेड है. ऑलराइट, फंक्शन, the valves opens during the ventricular systole and allows the oxygenated blood to flow from ventricles to aorta. Function, valves open to allow the oxygenated blood to flow from ventricles to aorta, left ventricle to aorta. Done? Now semilunar valve of pulmonary artery. Again इसका स्ट्रक्चर भी वैसा ही है. These valves are made up of 3 pocket shaped flaps, okay, 3 pocket shaped flaps which are present at the opening of right ventricle. ये देखिए right ventricle के बराबर opening में है. These are located at the opening of right ventricle to the pulmonary artery. Complete the sentence. Sentence complete कीजिए. Opening of right ventricle to the pulmonary artery. Function, it allows deoxygenated blood to flow from right ventricle to the lungs or to the pulmonary artery, right? So that was about the labeling. Now apart from this, we do have pulmonary artery, right? We have aorta, right? We do have pulmonary veins. Let me label over here. Pulmonary veins, and we have superior and inferior vena cava. That is A and B, right? So this both A is superior vena cava and B is inferior vena cava, right? Alright, so these two are together called as postal cava. Everyone note it down. These two are together called as postal cava. ठीक है, इनको हम दोनों को साथ में बुलाते हैं postal cava, and that is A and B. Now A, it brings the oxygenated blood okay, I'm sorry. Yes, A brings the oxygenated blood, that is superior vena cava. It brings the deoxygenated blood from the upper parts of the body, that is head and the arms. Okay, superior vena cava, it collects the deoxygenated blood from the veins which are coming from the upper parts of the body, that is head and arms. Inferior vena cava collects the deoxygenated blood from the lower parts of the body and bring it to the right auricle. Done? So this was about the entire heart structure and internal structure labeling which has been done, and इसका मैंने आपको लोकेशन और फंक्शन दोनों साथ में बताया. गाइस, लोकेशन और फंक्शन में वी वांट 5 मार्क्स इन आवर पॉकेट, राइट? तो प्लीज लोकेशन और फंक्शन के लिए अच्छा सा प्रैक्टिस सेशन हो रहा है, एंड आई थिंक दिस विल बी द वंडरफुल डिस्कशन दैट यू विल बी गेटिंग इट. सो प्लीज नोट इट डाउन एवरीथिंग वेरी प्रिसाइसली, एंड ध्यान रहे लेबलिंग में आपके स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स बिल्कुल भी नहीं होने चाहिए. ओके, सो लेट्स मूव फर्दर. Alright, now the further part is heartbeat. Let's see the heartbeat. Now heartbeat में, as you can see, I have shown over here. Now generally वो लोग क्या पूछते हैं? They show any one phase in the question. आपसे कोई भी एक फेज का वो क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे एंड आपसे वो मतलब एक फेज का डायग्राम वो आपको देंगे एंड आपसे वो क्वेश्चंस पूछेंगे एंड यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई द फेज. ऑलराइट, तो ये वाला फेज क्या होगा? ऑब्वियसली दिस इज एट्रियल सिस्टोल. अब एट्रियल सिस्टोल मैंने कैसे आइडेंटिफाई किया? नाउ सेकंड क्वेश्चन दैट दे आस्क इज गिव रीजन फॉर योर आंसर टू सपोर्ट. So this becomes your first question ka answer. Second question is that give reason for your answer of the question number 1, that why are you saying that it is atrial systole. तो हम reason क्या देंगे? That since the AV valves are opened, as you can see यहाँ पर मैं यहाँ पे circle कर रही हूँ, AV valves दिख रहा है आपको? AV valves are opened and semilunar valves are closed. Yes, see this. I am doing the arrow over here. These two valves are closed and जो circle किए हुए they are open and the blood is flowing from atria to ventricles. तो चलो मैं एक common arrow ही यहाँ पे बना देती हूँ. Blood is flowing from atria to ventricles and that's why it is called atrial systole. That means atrial जब contract होगा तो blood flow होगा auricle से ventricle. मैंने आपको एक और shortcut भी बताया था जो मैं अब यहाँ पे लिख दूंगी. That is, okay, I am writing down over here in the center. Contraction को we call it as systole, okay, and relaxation को we call it as diastole, right? So in short you can remember this as consys and re-di, right? So shortcut for you is con cis re-di. So contraction ko we will call it as systole and relaxation ko we will call it as diastole. Okay, so the second question is that AV valves are open. Iska answer hoga that AV valves are open and the blood is flowing from auricle to ventricles, right? Now what is the third thing? Which valves are open? They mostly ask that which valves are open and which valves are closed. So what do we write down? AV valves are open, AV valves open and semilunar valves are closed. Now during this phase, they also ask the fourth question, which is a very favorite question, that during this phase, what is the typical sound that has been produced by the heart? So the sound which is produced, now see यहाँ पे AV valves opened है and semilunar valves closed है. This is auricular systole. तो जब ventricle systole होता है, now listen to me, when the most of the students यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा confuse हो जाते हैं. जब semilunar valve close होता है, the sound is, so when semilunar valves are closed, sound which is produced is dub. Remember this, sound which is produced is dub. All right, now okay, coming to the ventricular systole. So what is this phase? First question, ventricular systole. Which phase it is? तो आप क्या लिखोगे? It is ventricular systole. Many students they ask me कि क्या मैम हम atrial diastole लिख सकते हैं? Yes, of course, आप लिख सकते हो, but ideally जो phase आपका मतलब जो chambers यहाँ पे contract हो रहा है आपको उसके बारे में लिखना है, correct? So here it is ventricular systole. Very clearly it is seen over here कि ventricles के walls यहाँ पे compressed हो रहे हैं. यहाँ पे देखो उसका U-shaped structure दिख रहा है and यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा वो pointed structure दिखा रहा है. That means it is showing slightly V-shape, right? And that V-shape is arising because of the ventricular systole. तो प्लीज आप सिस्टोल फेज को आइडेंटिफाई करने की कोशिश कीजिए, डोंट आइडेंटिफाई दी डायस्टोल. सो वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल, रीजन क्या होगा? रीजन यही है दैट द एवी वाल्व्स आर क्लोज्ड एंड सेमिलुनर वाल्व्स आर ओपन and so the blood is flowing through the semilunar valves. Now यहाँ पे मैंने upper arrow दिखाया है the valves which are open, right? So SLV, I am writing down in short, semilunar valves are open and the blood is flowing from blood moves from ventricles to ventricles, that is blood moves from ventricles to all parts of body. यानी कि ventricles are pumping, yes, all parts of body. Okay, this I've just written down in the short. आप ये लिख सकते हो, that is SLV. What you have to write down is semilunar valves are open, number 1, and number 2, ventricles are pumping the blood to all parts of the body. That is right ventricle. This is right ventricle and this is left ventricle. Now बच्चा लोग इसमें आपको labeling भी पूछे जा सकते हैं, right? So they may ask you about the labelings, that is about these valves. Okay, so this is AV valve. Okay, tricuspid valve. Again, once again, tricuspid valve, and this becomes your bicuspid valve, bicuspid AV valve. Okay, तो ये आपसे लेबलिंग पूछा जा सकता है, and of course they will also ask you the movement of the blood, okay, the flow of the blood. So फिलहाल मैं यहाँ पे आपको ये बता रही हूँ that SLV, semilunar valves are open and blood is flowing from right ventricle to pulmonary artery and from left ventricle to aorta. Okay, so this is your pulmonary artery, this one pulmonary artery, and this one is aorta. ओके तो ये लेबलिंग्स भी आपसे पूछे जा सकते हैं. नाउ व्हाट इज द टिपिकल साउंड दैट कम्स ड्यूरिंग दिस फेज? सो ड्यूरिंग दिस फेज, सिंस द एवी वाल्व्स आर क्लोज्ड शार्पली, ओके, शार्पली, द साउंड व्हिच इज प्रोड्यूस्ड इज लब. ओके, तो ये साउंड आपसे पूछा जा सकता है ड्यूरिंग द एग्जाम. सो दिस इज हाउ द हार्ट बीट अकर्स. ओके, सो दिस इज एट्रियल सिस्टोल, वेंट्रिकुलर सिस्टोल, AV valves are open, semilunar valves are open, semilunar valves are closed, AV valves are closed. Then here the sound which is produced is dub due to sharply closing of semilunar valves. The sound which is produced over here is lub due to sharply closing of AV valves. Here blood is flowing from auricles to ventricles, and here blood is flowing from ventricles to all the other parts of the body, that is right ventricle to pulmonary artery, that is right ventricle to lungs via pulmonary artery and left ventricles to the body via aorta. तो मतलब देखिए आपके सामने differentiation का भी point तैयार हो जाता है. Now labelings will be commonly asked either in this phase or in this phase. तो labelings तो मैंने already आपको internal structure में बता दिया. So I hope you guys are now ready with the heartbeat topic as well, right? Let's move on quickly with the next topic, that is मैंने यहाँ पे अब next labeling जो लिया हुआ है, that is a D1. Okay. The D flap has come, and now let us learn about the labeling of this. What is this? It's a conducting system of heart, right? तो अब यहाँ पे देखते हैं conducting system कैसे आता है. So conducting system जैसे ही नाम आता है, the very first thing that comes in our mind is SA node, right? तो चलो हम लोग SA node का labeling करते हैं. So already the arrows are put. I just have to write down the name very quickly. We know that this is SA node. Okay. Now always remember labeling आप full form में लिखिए. What is the full form of SA? That is, what is SA node? Sinoatrial node. All right, sinoatrial node. Then this is AV node. Now see, the arrow is bit lower, but I'll just label this one as, मैं यहाँ पे एक और arrow डाल देती हूँ. This is AV node. Okay, yeah, AV node. Now AV node is of course the full form of AV node, that is atrial ventricular node. I repeat, atrioventricular node. It is atrio, ATRIO, atrioventricular node. Okay, तो ये clear हो गया. Now see, AV node is giving rise to Purkinje fibers. Sorry, bundle of His. This is bundle of His. So ये वाला जो arrow यहाँ पे मैंने डाला है, this is for bundle of His. Right, bundle of His. Now this becomes the left bundle of His, sorry, right bundle of His, I'm sorry. Okay, yes, this is right bundle of His and this is left bundle of His. ये आपसे नहीं पूछा जाएगा. Directly after bundle of His they will ask you about Purkinje fibers. तो ये हो जाता है आपका Purkinje fibers, right? ऑलराइट, तो इससे देखो आपका लॉजिकल सीक्वेंस वाला क्वेश्चन भी बहुत ही अच्छी तरीके से तैयार हो जाता है. दैट इज द इम्पल्स इज पासिंग फ्रॉम एसए नोड टू एवी नोड टू बंडल ऑफ हिस, फ्रॉम बंडल ऑफ हिस इट मूव्स टू राइट एंड लेफ्ट बंडल ऑफ हिस to the Purkinje fibers and then finally to the ventricular walls, right? So SA node, AV node, bundle of his, Purkinje fibers and ventricular walls. Yes. So this is about the conducting system. Now SA node का quickly हम लोग location तैयार कर लेते हैं. Location इसका हमने study किया हुआ है बहुत अच्छे से. So the location is that SA nodes are located at the, where it is located? It's very simple. At the walls, near the right auricle, that is in the walls of the heart, near the right auricle, at the opening of the superior vena cava. I repeat, SA node is the bundle of, you can add on the structure part also, not a problem. It is a bundle of neuron which is located in the walls of the heart near the right auricle and at the opening of the superior vena cava. ये add करना पड़ेगा. In your textbook they have given these two sentences, the entire sentence into two parts in two paragraphs. हमें ये दोनों sentence को join करके location तैयार करना है. So I repeat, SA node is the bundle of neurons which is present at the walls of the heart near the right auricle and at the opening of the superior vena cava. Done? AV node. So SA node, sino atrial node, right? AV node. Now AV node is located it is located in between the right auricle and right ventricle, or you can say AV node is located near the tricuspid valve. Can you see this? I am just putting out the circle. This is the tricuspid valve. So yes, AV node is located near the tricuspid valve in between the right auricle and right ventricle. So AV node full form is atrioventricular node. सी बराबर उसके लोकेशन के हिसाब से हमने ये नाम डाला है. दैट्स अमेजिंग, राइट? नाउ बंडल ऑफिस मोस्टली तो वो लोकेशन नहीं पूछते, बट फिर भी आप याद रखो बंडल ऑफिस इज लोकेटेड नियर द सेप्टम और इन द सेप्टम ऑफ द हार्ट, राइट, बिटवीन द टू वेंट्रिकल्स, राइट? तो वैसे तो बंडल ऑफ इसका नहीं पूछते, सो जस्ट रिलैक्स फॉर अ बिट, ज्यादा मत सोचो. ज्यादा आप सोचोगे तो आप अपने आप को कंफ्यूज कर दोगे. Purkinje fibers का पूछते हैं. सो वेयर आर द Purkinje fibers located? Purkinje fibers are the fibers which are arising from the bundle of S. Purkinje fibers are the fibers which are branching out from the bundle of His and are present in the walls of the ventricles. जब आप ventricles लिखोगे तो it is quite understood that you are talking for both left and right वाला part, right? Okay, तो अब इसका conducting system का मतलब flow ऐसा है that brain immediately send the impulse to the wall of the heart where SA node is located. It is also called pacemaker, which decides which actually sets up the heartbeat. It sets up the heartbeat by receiving the impulse from the brain. So SA node receive करता है impulse. That impulse is passed down to AV node, and AV node से it is reaching to bundle of His, and from the bundle of His, the impulse is traveling down to the ventricular walls. Okay, the impulse is passing into the ventricular walls via Purkinje fibers. तो मतलब Purkinje fibers impulse दोनों ventricles के walls पे लेके जाता है, so that the ventricles immediately contract and the blood is pumped, and that is how the heartbeat sound and the cardiac cycle is maintained by the brain, right? ये देखिए, ये मैं आपको animation दिखा रही हूँ. Yes, everyone can see this animation very clearly. As you can see, SA node ने impulse receive किया, it is passing down to the AV node, and from the AV node it is going to the bundle of His, and from the bundle of His the impulse is getting transmitted to the branches, and then it is divided to the Purkinje fibers, which is moving into right and left ventricles, right? So I think now this part is also very clear. Pacemaker का logical sequence का question भी आपका clear हो चुका है. मूविंग ऑन फर्दर, द लास्ट पार्ट ऑफ माई स्लाइड इज ब्लड वेसल्स का लेबलिंग, जो हम लोग क्विकली खत्म कर लेते हैं। बहुत ही इजी है और ये बहुत ही कॉमन क्वेश्चन आ चुका है इन मोस्ट ऑफ योर बोर्ड एग्जाम पेपर्स। बट नाउ स्टूडेंट्स, what you have to extra prepare is कि आपको इसके डायग्राम्स ड्रॉ करने की प्रैक्टिस शुरू कर देनी है, बिकॉज इन पास्ट फ्यू पेपर्स मैंने नोटिस किया है कि वो ब्लड वेसल्स के डायग्राम्स ड्रॉ करने के लिए भी पूछते हैं, राइट। तो पहले तो हम लेबलिंग सीख लेते हैं। लेबलिंग इट्स वेरी सिंपल, दोनों का कॉमन लेबलिंग हम करेंगे, दैट इज दिस इज द ट्यूनिका एक्सटर्ना। ना बहुत से बच्चे ना मुझसे पूछते हैं कि मैम मैं जब ट्यूनिका एक्सटर्ना लिखता हूं तो मेरे मार्क्स कट हो जाते हैं, मैं सिर्फ बाहर का कनेक्टिव टिश्यू लिखता हूं तो भी मेरे मार्क्स कट हो जाते हैं। सो आइडियली यू नीड टू राइट ऑन एवरीथिंग। डोंट गिव चांस टू योर टीचर्स टू कट द मार्क्स, आप बिल्कुल भी चांस मत दीजिए। एंड जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले भी बात बताया था कि बायोलॉजी जो है वो एक थियोरेटिकल सब्जेक्ट है जिसमें हर छोटी छोटी चीज आपको डालना है, राइट। सो दिस इज ट्यूनिका एक्सटर्ना विच इज नथिंग बट कनेक्टिव टिश्यू। तो आप ब्रैकेट में लिख दो कनेक्टिव टिश्यू। चलो, तो ये हो गया ट्यूनिका एक्सटर्ना। ओके, नेक्स्ट इज ट्यूनिका मीडिया। तो ट्यूनिका मीडिया इज मेड अप ऑफ व्हाट? इट इज मेड अप ऑफ मसल्स एंड इलास्टिक फाइबर्स, राइट। मस्कुलर वॉल भी कहते हैं, विथ इलास्टिक फाइबर्स भी लिख सकते हो। एंड लास्ट बट नॉट द लिस्ट, दिस इज ट्यूनिका इंटरना। या ट्यूनिका इंटरना विच इज एंडोथीलियम। आई होप सब लोग वहां पे मेरे इस लेबलिंग्स को देख देख के ही आप लोग भी बोलते होंगे वहां पे, दैट्स वेरी गुड। एंड ये हो जाएगा इसका ल्यूमेन। नाउ ल्यूमेन ऑफ बोथ इज डिफरेंट। तो अब आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है। सो द आइडेंटिफिकेशन गोज दिस, बाय लुकिंग टू द ल्यूमेन एंड बाय लुकिंग टू द ट्यूनिका मीडिया यू नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई कि ये ब्लड वेसल्स क्या है। समझ में आया? तो जैसे कि आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे मीडिया इज क्वाइट ब्रॉडर। ओके, आई विल टेक द अनदर पेन कलर सो दैट आपको मैं रेड वाले डायग्राम पे दिखा सकूं। ओके, आई एम टेकिंग व्हाइट। ना ये देखिए यहाँ पे ये मीडिया इज क्वाइट broader and here the middle layer is quite narrow. Can you see that? यहाँ पे lumen narrow है, right? और यहाँ पे lumen जो है वो broader है, correct? Yes. So the difference is very इस difference को देखिए ना. This is what they are going to ask you. First of all, which like say this is A and say this is B. अगर ये दिया गया है A and B, तो आपको पूछेंगे identify A and B. So A is artery. Let's put down A as artery, right? And B is vein. अब ये आपसे second question पूछेंगे, how did you know or what give the reason for your answer to support. So what is the reason that in A, that is artery, lumen is narrow and the muscular wall is thick, whereas in B, vein, lumen is broader and the wall is narrow, right? तो ये आप structural difference, they ask you the one structural difference between artery and vein. तो आपको one structural difference में ये lumen और wall का दोनों का लिख देना है. You never know आपसे क्या expect किया जा रहा है, आपसे lumen expect किया जा रहा है या फिर wall, don't know, तो आप दोनों डाल दीजिए. Alright, इससे तो ज्यादा और कुछ है नहीं इसमें difference करने लायक. Now, most of the time they ask you about the differences between arteries and veins. So for that, you go back to my slides, my PPTs and get the idea about what are the differences point in that and prepare accordingly. Most of the time they ask you one difference or two difference based on that. एक तो वो ये पूछेंगे what type of blood is carried by the A and B. So A carries, that is artery carries oxygenated blood and B carries deoxygenated blood. तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा वो इतना ही पूछेंगे. But remember, आपको डायग्राम ड्रॉ करने के लिए आएगा तो it's not that difficult. दो सर्कल बना लो एंड उसके 3 लेयर्स बना लो, बट मेक श्योर कि आप आर्टरी में ल्यूमेन नैरो रखो और इसमें वाइटर. Right? So here I finish with my first session of diagrams labeling and I hope you must have enjoyed with me. Now what we are going to do, that is, I finished with my labeling part and it was really amazing. Now one important key to success for your board exams is self-confidence. Right? मैं हमेशा triple S कहती हूँ, that is study, saturate and self-analyze and after self-analyzing you will gain the self-confidence. You study the concept, उसको saturate करो अपने mind में, self-analyze करो कि आपका weakness कहाँ पे, आपका strength कहाँ पर है, weakness पे और काम करो and self-confidence gain करो. So one important key to the success is self-confidence, and important key to the self-confidence is nothing but preparation. जितना आप prepare करोगे उतना आपके board exams के लिए better होगा. Now we will stay tuned for our next diagram session, as I will be coming up with our next diagram session with the next chapter, जहां पे हम short में पूरे chapter के labelings study करेंगे. Till then, thank you and see you soon.